At this time, I'd like to call in our Zeta being that works with Will and I, please.
Yeah, I'm present.
Thank you for being present. It's been a long time since we've chatted. How are you doing?
It has. Doing well.
Has anything changed in your world?
It has not.
You're still above Earth watching?
Yes.
And how are we doing?
It is a bit chaotic. It is a bit strange, but as you understand, there are things that must take place. This world will continue. This existence will continue. We have seen it over and over again. But in your short span of life here on this planet, to you, we understand it does seem to be a bit out of place, a bit disturbing to many. If you could understand and see it from the time frame of existence that we have been in, this is a mere blip of existence, a flash, if it were. The human race will continue. The human race will overcome all of the things that are taking place, the distractions, the illnesses, the turbulent experiences. But for you now here, it feels as if it is a lifetime. It is not.
Thank you for that. That is encouraging. We'll remember that. Do you, I wanted to check in and see how our telepathy is going, because a couple of years ago when we first started communicating with you, I needed to work on that. So do you know what I want to talk to you about today? Were you able to sense it as I was writing and thinking about it today?
It is what is most pressing in your existence here on this planet and your state of emergency, as you would call it. And I would imagine you are going to ask about the political state of your country.
Darn, no. I wanted to ask some more fun stuff about ET beings. Can we do that?
We may.
So hopefully, because you have a wide knowledge base, you'll be able to help me with some of these questions, or maybe look into them for us. Back in 1994, there was something called the Channy Project, where some sort of being or entity was speaking to humans through a computer. Do you know of that project and or that being that was speaking to us back then? I think to a government organization of some sort?
I have a reference point for it, but I do not know the being, as it were.
It would be interesting to know what being or race that was speaking to them at that time.
From this understanding point, yes. You have to understand about your computers. Computers operate on a particular frequency, and they are derived from the crystalline chips that are built into each computer. Each one of them resonate at a particular frequency. And when there is code induced into each of the computers as an operating system or other sub-function of that PC, that computer, that machine, they have to align with these crystalline chipsets for alignment. And if necessary, yes, a subset of code can be induced into the frequency channels of that chipset, which is then placed into the main code of the operating system. This subset of a code then can be an open communication channel between locations. It doesn't appear to be that it was one particular being. My reference has it as there were multiple beings formulating this exercise. What you have to understand is that this subset of a code has been replicated over and over and over again in all PCs, in all things that have a crystalline chipset. It would be quite easy to induce another communication point across your televisions, across your phone, across your computers, your cars, your airplanes, as everything now has that subset of a code built into it.
But how would that work? Would that have to be instigated by the human or by the being out there?
It would be the being, yes.
Could we?
They would have to initiate the initial contact, as it were.
And could pretty much any being out there that's higher dimensional than we are communicate in that way?
Yes. If they have an understanding of how to make the pathway between their existence and this code, this subset code that is in each piece of electronic equipment.
And I would think they were intelligent enough to do that.
Yes, they are.
And so how would we, if we wanted to do that, not that I want to, because this seems pretty a more efficient way to speak to you, but would I send the intent out into the universe and sit in front of my computer and kind of wait for them to type words, or how would that work? How would you do that?
It is a bit more difficult than that. Yes, you can put the intent out. It is then the difficult portion of it is finding its way to you. Understanding that, yes, that a communication pathway can be opened up is one aspect, but they must have the ability to understand exactly which device that you sit in front of. And they must also understand the frequency by which that piece of equipment is operating. And there are multiple layers involved of getting the right transmission to the right location.
And once they start, would it be easier to continue the transmission?
Yes, because the communication channel would be opened and locked, yes.
And so do you think with this Chaney project, it was accidental in how it happened?
There was not necessarily it being an accident. There was experimentation, as you say it. Here on the Earthling side, they were experimenting with just that, operating at a much deeper level within the existence of the chipsets, of the frequencies, with the understanding that there could be manipulation.
Very cool.
But at the same time, the group of beings had the understanding that once they could connect to this frequency channel, they could induce a communication portal or a communication subset of a code for communication. What you must also understand is the difficulty in it now with the abundance of your electronic equipment. There was not as much of it at that particular period of time. So it is much easier at that point to make a connection.
To find the instrument per se.
This is correct.
That makes sense. That's really cool. Thank you for talking. I'd love to talk to you about this sort of stuff.
Hmm.
So those beings brought up quite a few profound concepts that I'd like to chat with you about. The first thing they said was this entity and its elders said that they destroyed their moon and that things were better afterwards. They also told us that our moon is not a natural heavenly body. Is that a fact? We talked about our moon early on, and you did say there were quite a few secrets about our moon, if I recall.
Yes.
Is our moon manufactured in some way?
It is not entirely manufactured, but it has had its share of construction, shall we say. But it is not something that shall be readily discussed. There is much that is taking place there. There is an awareness that is coming about not only your moon, but many other, as you call them, planets in your solar system. There are many other things that are being witnessed and observed that do not take the same natural existence of normal celestial bodies. They are coming into your awareness and your solar system. But to provide full awareness of it in this type of communication could disrupt much of the future plans. But to say, yes, there is construction on your moon would be correct. There are inhabitants of your moon, as well as other planets throughout your solar system.
Are they inner moon, like inner Earth beings, as well as on the surface, or either or?
They do go into, yes, subterranean, as you would say. This is more of a protective aspect, as the surface is not a sustainable place to be.
I see. So is it true that the moon was put there or sort of constructed by other beings to control Earth? Is it some form of control?
You've answered your own question through a question. Do you understand what it is to control? What does your moon control here on your planet? Many things. Your tides of your water bodies. The physical body itself is influenced by the moon. There is a magnetic pull and push of this moon. There are other bodies throughout the solar system that do not have this same type of experience with their parent body.
Right. And so I thought those types of the control that the moon had on Earth and its inhabitants was beneficial, but this being was saying that perhaps it wasn't.
There is benefit and not, but if you were to experience in its full understanding of what its effects are on you physically, and then you took that away, that would be the only way you would understand whether it was good or bad. To remove it completely, yes, would disrupt your planet. But in time, it would rejuvenate in its new form. There is not necessarily a true reason why you have a moon. There is no physical attribute that must be in place to keep it here around your planet. It could be moved off into another area, and your planet would go into a chaotic state. And most of its inhabitants probably would perish. But at some level, it would regrow, regain, and repopulate, but in a different form.
I see. So I guess this was a different circumstance for this other being, and the circumstances of his planet where they destroyed their moon and became better afterwards, it was just different from Earth.
That's correct.
Because they said they had changes in the inhabitants' mood and temperament, beneficial weather changes, enhanced telepathic abilities, and all of that sort of stuff.
Yes. What you must understand is that because of its lock to your planet, it has shaped your planet over the extended period of time that it has been in existence to what it is known to you as it is now. You feel the physical effects of it when it cycles between full and not full. You understand your moods and your body changes. If you were to pull it away, yes, you would feel those effects, and you may feel much better because of it. But because the Earth itself, the planet itself, has been locked to the moon for such time, those physical aspects of this planet would change so dramatically that it would be devastating.
That makes sense. Thank you for that exchange. That was interesting. So tell me, I want to have a discussion about healing. Do you, you're able to do healing on each other and others with technology that we don't have on Earth at this time. Is that right?
This is correct.
And so if we humans can heal each other through our hands by channeling the energy within our body and using us as a conduit of source energy, why do we need technology? Why would we need technology to heal? Why can't you and other beings just heal through your body and your hands and so forth?
That is not to say that all beings cannot do that. Those beings that are in physical form and that have not evolved or transitioned into crystalline form or anything other than a physical body do require the assistance of physical means of healing. Yes, you can heal through your hands or thoughts or words, but when there is a physical injury, you have not evolved to a point at which the physical injury can be readily healed quickly. That is part of the experience. That is part of why you are in your physical form.
But haven't you?
Yes, we have evolved as well, but when we are physically injured, we do require the assistance of other means. We
Okay.
do healing on a much higher level than yourself and the humans here on this planet. But there are still times that we require, because we are in physical form. We hold a physical body, and we must have the assistance of some other means.
I see. Can you give us an example? What does that look like? I'm really curious. Like, what do you use to, I think I've seen you heal. I don't know if it was me. I think I saw you heal Cindy with some sort of white light bar, sweeping it across her body or something. Was that accurate? Do you use something like that?
What you have to understand is the level of healing, physical healing that we are capable of, aside from the mechanical means of healing, may look to you as if we are using and manipulating some form of an object. You, in your present state, when you use your hands or your mental thoughts or any other means other than a physical object, you have an understanding that you are moving energy. You are transferring energy back and forth and over the individual. We have been able to get to a state in which we manipulate that energy. We hold that energy and we sustain that energy in its purest form. So to you, it would look as if I am holding a bar of light or a object of light or energy or frequency. That is the difference. It's all on the level of ascension or evolution. It is not to say that you cannot visualize yourself holding light, but that's all you're doing is visualizing yourself holding that light. We are able to, I believe the word that you would use, conjure up that energy in front of us and then manipulate that energy in any shape or form that we wish in order to provide healing over the physical body or internally of the physical body.
So you are using just energy. You're actually not using an object, a tool.
We do use objects and tools, yes, but that is for more severe. So as if we were to sustain an open injury to our body, just as if you were to be cut or opened up, there is a mechanical means that has to close you back up. Very similarly, yes, there is limitations to that manipulation of energy, the conjuring of the energy form itself. That limitation is, if the wound is large enough, it is difficult to close it up. So there is a suture mean needed to close that wound up. We have not evolved to the point at which we can fully manipulate the energy body around us for full healing.
Pretty neat. So those types of wounds, if you were not, if you weren't around someone who could heal that for you, or you couldn't heal that yourself, could that cause you to transition and leave your body?
Yes, I believe it would, but you say it as if not everyone has this ability. Everyone has this ability. Everyone that is at a much higher level than the human form has this ability.
To what, heal themselves?
Yes.
So then what would cause you to transition? You decide at will when you're ready to transition?
There is some of that, yes. There is a conscious understanding that I've lived my existence as long as I wish to live my existence, no matter how many years it has been, and I wish to transition to another being or another existence. But there is, yes, I can be injured to a point at which the best means of healing can take place, and yet it is not enough.
Interesting. And so I think originally you told me that your lifespan is typically 25,000 years or so.
This is correct.
So is that just because that's what Zetas have sort of agreed on, since you said really you could leave whenever?
Yes, it is an arbitrary number to a certain extent. With the oldest that we've known has been around that number, close to 30,000 of your years, yes.
And how old are you now?
Approaching the 1,000-year mark.
Wow, you're a baby.
Yes.
Is that why you choose to work in this way? Are you sort of learning as well as you go?
Yes, it's an experiential part of this existence, yes.
I love it. Maybe that's why I get along with you so well.
Hmm.
You're youthful.
Yes.
And so tell me then, if we were to talk to one of your elders, would the information provided be significantly different?
There wouldn't be a significant difference. There would be slight differences, slight nuances, I believe you would use the word. You have to understand that living that type of length of time, there's a certain amount of repetition of experiences. You see things over and over and over again, just in different ways. You see the beings that you are watching over. You see them going through the same cycles of existence over and over again, but there is nothing you can do about it. But you have an understanding that it will happen this way, and this is how this will play out. And it's as if you were to sit and watch the same show on your television set over and over and over again. You know the outcomes, but yet it does not change.
You mean like Earth?
Yes.
So how many cycles of Earth have you seen? Or not you, since it's only been 1,000 years, but I guess an elder, I guess they've seen many cycles of Earth.
They've seen many iterations of this planet, yes. Not only in what you understand is your life existence here on this planet and its life forms on this planet. I believe it's in the millions of years. It's well beyond that age.
Wow, neat. You've seen the homage, the statue that we have out there of the little Zeta being, haven't you?
Yes.
If you hear us make fun, we
Yes.
tease and we wonder if you have a statue of an Earthling at your house.
We do not. It is interesting, the fascination with our being ourselves,
Yes,
being in presence with the humans. Yes.
you are. You're sort of, if we looked up ET in the dictionary, there'd be a picture of a Zeta. You're the most common, I think, ET form in movies and TV and so forth.
Yes, I believe that's because on some level, we are the most pleasant to look at. On another level, we've always been portrayed as one that is the most harmful.
Sadly, we've talked about that. I'm sorry for that.
Hmm.
Are you okay with us having a statue of you guys out there?
If it makes pleasure for you, then that is just fine, yes.
It does. It reminds me of you.
Hmm.
With regard to the healing, you can use those healing abilities that you have on human beings, can you not?
Yes.
Is there a rule for when you're allowed to intervene like that?
It is not necessarily a rule. I mean, it is interesting that humans seem to put rules around everything.
Yes, we do.
That is not necessarily how we live our existence. We have a common understanding amongst all beings that we are equal. Though we may be different and we have our struggles, we are all equal. When it comes to healing, as far as it being used on the humans, there's a certain alignment that must take place. There must be, one, a willingness and an openness to receive. Then there has to be the acknowledgement that you are willing to receive this healing from an external source, an extraterrestrial source. And then you must have yourself in a location where you are able to receive. There are many times that humans will say that they are willing to receive healing and that they want healing and they place themselves into a healing position, but they have not made the designation of who it is to provide the healing. That is what is critical with your instructions. If you wish to receive healing that is beyond you, place yourself into a position of healing. Open yourself up and be willing to receive the healing. But most importantly, it is who you wish to receive the healing from. There are many beings beyond ours that will provide you healing as well.
So I could call on you, though, for example, to
This
do
is
healing.
correct.
Wonderful. I might do that one day. I have one more question, if you don't mind.
That is fine.
That Cheney being also said that dolphin sounds can heal the brain waves of all Earth creatures. Now we know that dolphins are highly intelligent and special beings, so that would make sense. That they can make synapses, make a better connection in the brain to make miracles happen. Can you elaborate on that?
Yes. This is all based on frequency. There is a particular frequency range. Now, this is something that you have an understanding of. You understand how frequencies and sound can heal at a certain particular level. If you were able to understand the physical aspects of your human body and how they operate all together, think of yourself as that computer that they've interacted with. There are frequency chips inside of you, all resonating at different frequencies. And they are aligning and creating thoughts, and they're creating new cells, and they're creating your heartbeat. But yet it is all frequency based. It is what drives each of the cells down to its minute level. Vibration and frequency. Sound, but you cannot hear it. There is a particular frequency range. There is a particular sound that comes from this animal that is well beyond your hearing, your audible hearing. That, yes, will influence your nerves, your synapses, I guess you call them. It is the conjunction points of all nerve endings and all cell connections. It is what transfers energy to energy. At that particular point, it rejuvenates. It cleanses, it cleans off, and allows them all to begin to fire at the same time. What you must understand in the physical body that you inhabit, as the older you get, they begin to shut down. The reason that we can live to an extended period of time well beyond your understanding is because as we get older, these synapses, these conjunction points, never shut down. They continue to grow, they continue to flourish. If you were to do that in your physical form, you too would be living well beyond what you could experience. So yes, you would call it a miracle. It is just the natural course of the body changing because it was induced by a particular frequency, a particular sound.
So how can we as humans best make use of that? Can we just sit and listen to that in headphones? And do we know which frequencies align with which disorders and so forth?
That has not been yet studied, I believe, by your human race. They have an understanding that this animal has a particular language, yes, but they do not have an understanding of its full capability and what it can do. This is not the only animal that has a frequency range that can aid in the healing of the human. There are many others, but it is not yet to be found by your human race. Sitting with it, as you say, with headphones and listening may have some assistance, but there are things in place when you listen to it audibly that way that do not transfer the healing properties appropriately. It is just as if you were to go and have a surgery and it was done by robotic means versus a doctor. Though the surgery is completely the same, it may not heal the same way as it would if the doctor actually had his hands on you. Just by the mere fact that the doctor is placing his hands on you, he is transferring his healing energy, though he understands it or not, into you, assisting the wound closure. So it is always best to be in the presence of the animal or the individual providing the healing.
Very cool. Thank you. I meant to ask when we were talking about the moon, are any of those so-called secrets part of this disclosure that's coming, where truth is coming to light in the next year or so?
There's much that has been discussed about this so-called disclosure. There will be much that will be revealed. Yes, it is being revealed as we speak. But there are many that are discounting it as it is a farce or it is not the truth. And this is a mere act of your planet and its existence and how it chooses to exist. Yes, there will be more awareness brought to all of these things, but this is in time. There are many factors in place, whether it will be brought forward in an appropriate amount of time for you to experience it or not. There are things that are changing and shifting that can cause a delay. But yes, the experiences of the moon and the other objects around your planet will all be brought to light.
Thank you. Also, there is an astrological conjunction between two major planets, Jupiter and I forget the other, that's happening towards the end of December. Do you know what I'm referring to? Where they're going to be aligning and they almost look like one big star to us as they align together in our sight.
I do not see that as being a significant happening in our existence. It may be something that for you here, that you've had some sort of previous experience with that will have some aid in healing or awareness or awakening.
Okay, thank you. And what about the equinox or the solstice coming up in December? The December 21st is supposed to be pretty significant. Do you have any insight you'd like to share?
I do believe there will be a significant wave of energy that will pass through your planet at that particular day. There are many things that can influence this, but for the most part, your physical being will and may have temporary discomfort or interruption. Your physical activities on this planet may be hindered a bit.
So that's a work day for me. Do you think I should take the day off?
That is not something I can advise or not advise.
Darn.
That is entirely up to you. That is a decision point for you to make.
You're right. Thank you. Well, it's been a pleasure as always to speak with you. Is there anything else that you want to share with us tonight?
Just understand that we are all there for you. We all are here for your understanding. You just merely have to ask for our presence to be made. We may not show in physical form, but you will feel us energetically around you.
I sure wish we could see you physically, or at least your ship.
In time, this will take place.
Thank you. Judy wanted to know also, who is the commander of your ship? Do you have a commander? Or someone in charge?
This role of being in charge is interesting. You place much weight on this. here on this planet. As
Another-
I've expressed before, that yes, we may be different and have our disagreements with each other, but we all understand that we are all one and we all live together as one. But as far as the role of who operates the ship or the craft, that is one that does go between different individuals. It's rotating, I guess you would say. My role as an observer has always stayed as an observer. As we've met before and we've discussed, the role of the navigation is one that is usually handled by the reptilians. There are others on board that I do not frequent that do take that role, but I do not interact with them very often.
So everybody just works together and has their part to play, and they don't need necessarily a leader to coordinate that.
This is correct.
One day, maybe we'll get there.
That would be the goal for your planet, yes. But as it has taken place over and over again, it seems as if that is a difficult aspect to achieve.
I think things are changing, though. Tell me things are changing. I'm having hope.
There is change ahead, yes.
But changing in a way that's never taken place before, evolving in a way that's never taken place before, moving into new territory where there's less polarity, less strife, less anger and volatility.
Is the volatility and anger only because you're becoming more aware of what is around you, or is it physically more anger and volatility? The question is, have you noticed a difference between this same time period in the year past or 2 years in the past to today? Has things changed in your relative experience in life? That is a question to be answered. Things are always evolving, things are always changing. But it is the perspective, and this is what is difficult for us to understand, is the perspective from the human side is it must be changing for good. But what is good? Because just as it is achieved in your mind, then there is something else to change to be good. There is never a final state of good.
I guess I've believed that there was a state of good or positive polarity, perhaps, or an understanding of ourselves as a piece of source, which a lot of us
Do you believe you are a piece of source?
Absolutely.
Then you have achieved something someone else has not achieved. Am I correct?
Right.
So then you are in a place of an alignment, or you are in a place of enlightenment that someone else on your planet has not achieved. So you have changed for the positive.
Right. But I wish that for all beings on Earth.
Yes, that is something that many beings of this planet request. There is change taking place. There is positive change taking place. But in order to have positive change, there also has to be the opposite of that. There is the negative change that is taking place. That is the balance that is here on your planet. But do not be disparaged by any of it. Be enlightened by it. Have the understanding that, yes, this is not this planet's first time around. It is always changing, and it will always change, and it will always survive. Do not get mired down into what you are thinking it needs to be, that all human beings need to come together as one collective group of individuals, all happy at the same time.
Why? Why can't we? Why shouldn't we?
There are many on my ship. hundreds on my ship. Though we all get along, though we all understand our role and we all get along, we are not all happy. This is the natural course of all physical beings. It is not something that is just inherent in the physical form of the humans on your planet. As long as you are in a physical form at a lower density, there will be this understanding. It is not until you've reached the higher realms, the higher dimensions, that this all changes. Because at that point, you are only but merely separated from the source. It is the challenges that you've decided to take on in this life. That is why you are here. That is why you are having the experiences that you are having. It doesn't matter the political state. It doesn't matter the state of the emergency. It doesn't matter what the chaos is on your planet. What matters is the place in which you hold your space and how you look at your existence and how you choose to move forward. It is entirely up to you whether you are going to be in a place that you consider to be a happy place. With all of the things that take place around you, it shall not matter to you your state of mind, your state of peace, your state of existence, your state of vibration. There are others that are changing. You may not see it, but they are changing. Will this entire planet be one of a symbiotic type of everybody gets along with each other and they all are in it for each other? Yes, at one day it may, but in my time of existence, I have not seen it. Nor have I heard from my elders that it has achieved that state. That does not say, that does not mean that it will never happen. But at this point, from what I have seen, it is where it needs to be.
Wow, that was pretty beautiful and profound. Thank you for that. Helps
Yes.
me have a different perspective for sure.
And that is what you shall call upon us for.
I love you.
And we enjoy being with you.
Thank you so much for being here, and I will call upon you again and hopefully one day see you in person.
That might be possible, yes.
Thank you. Until we meet again.
Thank you.
And thank you to all beings who are with us tonight. We thank you for your presence and your information.
Thank you.